Basic food combining. Now, this is something that is poo-pooed by a lot of the intellectuals out there who think they know better. Now, after everything I've said, let's hope you open up your minds a little bit. If you watch the way that every single creature on Earth, herbivorous, frugivorous creature eats, they eat monolithically. That means one food or one type of family of food at a time. We're the only species that eat a large amount of different things. And that's not called diversity, that's called ignorance. And the ignorance comes quite simply because you were taught incorrectly, even by vegan nutritionists and vegan doctors, that, by the way, it didn't matter what you eat, it all comes together because they look at the anatomical breakdown of how food goes from the digestive tract into the small intestine and the bowel, and they say, well, it doesn't matter what you eat. Well, it does matter what you eat, because through evolutionary process, your body was built to eat particular families or types of food in very simple ways. This is something I've been following now for the last 45 years with incredible results. I've placed God knows how many endless hundreds of thousands of people on this, and they have great results. So here's the basics on this thing. Protein takes a healthy person about 4 hours to digest. Now remember, the Hippocrates living food diet is the highest protein diet on the planet Earth. Nothing comes close to this. So why the actors and actresses and top athletes have gravitated here and employ this program and are the top of their field is because it not only gives you the most nutrition and the most medicine in the form of these phytochemicals we discussed, but it also, by the way, makes it easy for your body's immune system and your psychology to function. So the kind of things, and these are only a handful of examples, pumpkin, sesame, that little tiny seed is a complete protein. Sunflower, we take it way big steps further. Sunflower, we take it and germinate it and eat the green of it. That makes it actually 23 times more nutritious and digestible than if I didn't sprout it. Nuts like almonds, Brazil nuts, tremendous, pecans, pine nuts, walnuts, and the list goes on and on. These are the proteins. They take about 4 hours. Now, by the way, you don't want to eat anything after you've eaten a protein for about 3 hours. You don't want to mix that in the digestive canal together because you're going to slow down this process that literally enhances psychology and biology. And by the way, how many of you remember when you've eaten a whole lot of things together, even raw food together, you get a headache, you feel nauseous? No. Why? I'm telling you right now, they weren't meant to be together and the signaling goes bad. Now, these are much better signaling than the drugs and the antibiotics you took, but the fact is you're still getting signaling. You can't stop, you can't shut down the signaling. So the basic food combining, starches, take 3 hours. So you don't eat anything or drink anything for about 2 hours. It's gone through basic digestion with starches, things like sprouted grains like amaranth and barley and millet and quinoa and teff and rye and all of these wonderfully hard winter wheat. And of course, we're the guys who brought wheatgrass to the world, and wheatgrass is among that. But these are things that are amazingly important. And I'm so sad to see people with high animal protein diets and ketogenic diets and all of this stuff. It's so sad because the energy you get are from these type of complex carbohydrates. That's what your body's built to do, but they have got to be sprouted into plants because the anthropologists today tell us we were not hunters and gatherers, we were gatherers. Small tribes became hunters because they found themselves in a precarious position, living in the middle of a winter, and there was nothing to eat and they were starving. They became animal consumers and the milk out of the bosoms of other species. It's perverted. We'll speak about that more next week in our program together. But when you take these seeds, nuts, grains, and beans, which our great ancestors hardly ever ate, they only ate it during droughts. Because people like Dr. Leakey, the anthropologist, actually has done incredible photographic exposés on the teeth of our ancestors leading right up to modern Homo sapiens. And what they found is that we were eating plants, fruits and vegetables, greens. And the only time we ate these seeds, nuts, grains, and beans, they were not germinated, was when, by the way, there were droughts and the plant wasn't there to eat. The crop wasn't there to harvest. So the fact of the matter is, to make it the way your ancestors ate and the way your body was evolutionarily programmed to consume nutrients and food, is you germinate these things. Easy to do. Takes you a matter of a minute and a half to 2 minutes, period. In 2-3 days, they'll be done. Basic food combining groups for easier digestion, the microbiome diversity. Vegetables take about 2.5 hours at the very most. That means about 2 hours. Then 50 minutes, 30 minutes after, you can start eating something else or drinking something else. So that's a wide variety of light leafy greens. One of my favorite vegetables, I eat a lot of it every day. We grow it here on our campus at our organic garden, is arugula. Arugula is like 8 times more calcium than this next best thing. You never saw so much. But things like radish and the greens of radish, the sprouts, we call them microgreens today. You know, we sort of brought these to the world, but now they've changed the name of it. They used to be called sprouts, but the fact of the matter, microgreens, these are tremendous foods. By the way, far, 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 far more nutrition than vegetables that were harvested weeks ago that you buy at your organic store. You're actually having these things grow in your home just as you eat them and harvest them, or take them out and harvest them from the bottle you're growing a sprout in. I mean, these are really the foods by far with the most medicine in it, by far with the most nutrition in it, by far with the most health-giving properties in it. I mean, we see psychological shifts here. Of course, we have psychotherapists everyone see. We have a medical team that shocking in every single group, every single person, even if they don't have an emotional problem, everyone improves their emotions. And then you have fruits. The average digestion time is 30 minutes to 1 hour. You know, the more condensed fruits like banana would take longer. The watery fruits would take less. So you don't want to eat anything after that. Melons are the quickest by far, 15, 20 minutes, they rush through the body. That's why we're all standing in a queue at the restroom when we take melons. The fact is, you don't want to be mixing all of these things together. Even the fruits go at different speeds through the body. Carbohydrates go. So you wouldn't eat a melon with a banana, as an example, or with an apple. You would eat them separately. And let me preface this. Here at the Institute, we've learned over the years, because of the hybridization of fruit and the extraordinary sugar content comparative to the ancestral fruits, only healthy people should eat small amounts of this. When people are ill, we take them off all forms of sugar, including fruit. So here's what I am saying to you today. Greater amounts of plant-based diversity, you have a stronger and healthier microbiota. Stronger and healthier you. End of story.